Welcome everyone to NRL Fantasy HQ. This is Red, this is Mitch, I am Alex, and we are the NRL Fantasy Gurus.
The original and the only.
As Mitch has mentioned in every video this year so far, the original and only, that's because there is a Facebook group calling themselves us. It is not us, but we digress. Thanks for the free advertisement, I suppose. Now, importantly, the Guru injury curse has struck again, and it's still pre-season. I blame ourselves. In the past, we have cursed out players on the rise.
Capewell, you guys took him down.
Jack Bird, Kurt Capewell, and Braden Burns. In the last video alone, we cursed McInnes, Haas, Corey Harawira-Naera, and the horse, of course.
Take that, you sons of bitches.
Just like Kurt Capewell, they've all been polled. Now, we move on this week. It's a finger. Now, an adult only joker. Now, this week, last week we did the forwards. This week we're going to do the backs.
Last week?
Okay, 2 weeks ago. It's
ago.
a slow process in editing here. Now, we've actually already filmed this video, but we're redoing it because all that information, literally the last 2 weeks, has gone just shite.
We did harpoon some players that we haven't mentioned in this list.
We actually did mention players like Amarillo, and we'll get to that later.
Oh, spoilers.
Any hoozles? We're going to do halves, centres, and wing fullbacks today. Now, let's start with the halves. Does anyone want to start in particular?
Oh, okay, so if I harpoon this
Get it? Because it's a half. You kicked it off.
Accidental, yeah. I'll claim that. Yep, one of my funnies. So, 2 weeks ago, I mentioned a player by the name of Anthony Milford.
Yes.
And now he's got a broken hand, so...
This is, of course, in the video that we didn't release, and kind of.
So you guys have no idea what we're talking about. These are all inside jokes.
Yeah. But look, let's be real for a minute. He's 427,000. He's coming off a really, really disappointing season. Not only for him, but for the Broncos themselves. They've got a new coach up there. They're, talking belief and this and that, whatever. So look, we know how great Milford can be, has been in fantasy in the past. Can he get back to that form? Is it worth rolling the dice at 427,000? You're not going to lose much if he, doesn't go to the, the heights those people want him to.
It's predicted to miss, 1 or 2 weeks, so...
Well, they're saying he could be there for round 1. He'll be racing the clock to be fit, but he's a wait for TLT.
Well, I think, start of the season, you want someone there you sort of set and let build, especially in that mid-price range. So I'll be avoiding him, especially with so many great mid-half range options coming up. But that's just me. Red, thoughts?
I think his problem is he's had half consistency either. Like, it's hard it doesn't matter who you are to play, and that's your guy, that's your man that you always turn into to support you. And he adds too many different ones, and the Broncos have had the same problem. They've had too many different halves. It's just too hard for them, man. If he can get some consistency, I think we may not see the old Anthony Milford, but we could see a new Anthony Milford.
I think, at that price...
Oh, it's very tempting at that price. So someone who has reached fantasy heights such as him. Red, who are you liking in the halves?
Well, I'm going to put out one there that a lot of people aren't familiar with because, he's been missing. Who the hell knows who this guy is? Michael Morgan. Have you heard of him? No. Does his wife play? Probably. Michael Morgan, $516,000. Not cheap for a half. But let me give you a little bit of a insight into the young man. Averaged 43 last year.
Young?
Yeah. He still looks fresh. Anyway, 43 average last year. Yeah, that's all right. But 52 when he played a full game. So you take out the injured games. He actually had a really good score. Now, he's priced at an average of 39. So if he goes even close to his old average, even if he just gets 50 a game, he's the dominant half, he's going to do all the kicking, he's going to set up a lot of tries to those big, powerful forwards they got. I don't know, that price, hell of a half.
If Clifford's not playing and it's Drinkwater, you got a ball playing 5'8", he'll be doing all the kicking, he'll be getting a lot of base stats, and he leads that team. I remember back in the 2018 finals where he took them all the way without JT, so it
What
shows
happened
he
in that
can
game?
carry a team. And he was a very good fantasy scorer back then too.
Well, he averages 317 kick meters per game.
Yeah.
Just alone. 15 points.
That is crazy base stats, so yeah, definitely one to watch there.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I like that pick, but I also like another mid-range, Harris Tavita. Stick with me here. This is going to take some talking into.
Ooh, we're going on a journey.
I'm taking you on a journey because you're not going to buy into it at first. Like last year, we'll take the first 10 weeks. He averaged 24 points. Rubbish.
Terrible.
You don't want that. You don't want that 472k.
Be awkward if the video cut right here.
But he was playing 5'8" for those first 10 games. When he moved at the starting halfback position, I know it's not much 6'7", but different half combinations. From round 13 onwards, he averaged 43.6 points. Now he's priced at 35 average. And his average kick meters improved a lot when he moved to number 7. So, look, if he can average that 43.6 average and stick with that half position, he's goal kicking as well. I think he could be a very nice mid-range option. Because at the end of the day, start of the season, you want some good mid-range options.
Yeah, I actually think that's where it's going to be this year. Is there's probably 6-7 decent mid-range options, and if you can find the right two, like Flanagan was last year, you know, you're going to go a long way to then hopefully later in the year, if you can't bring a Cleary or a Haas or someone like that into your team now, you're building the money to bring them in.
Well, speaking of those guns, Mitch, I know you got one you want to talk about.
Oh, we're going gun. I was going to talk about Luke Brooks, because I think he could be in for a big season.
Okay, definitely not a gun. And cue a weird look about Luke Brooks.
Hey, wait, where's that little plug?
Alright, hear me out, boys. A bit like Milford. I'm all about comeback stories. My team was woeful last year, and Mitch's lads, FG, are coming back. Just like Brooks, just like Milford. Look, last year he averaged 40.6, but I think he should see a big increase in his space stats. With no Benji Marshall there, the rumour is Adam Dooley's going to be partnering in there, so I'm expecting that he will take on more of responsibility of the playmaking, general field kicking, and hopefully pop up with a few more try assists and offensive stats like that. So I think, look, 40.6, not great for a half, but if you can bump it up to that mid-50s week in, week out for that price, you're laughing.
Let's rewind to 2019, before he had Benji Marshall. 3rd in Dally M votes. Like, he was up there. He was part of the elite. You know, fantasy-wise, at that price, if he gets all those base stats back again, I think he could be a fantastic purchase.
Yeah, I'm 50-50 on him.
Oh,
Like, you know, a guy at that price with the recent standings, he's a bit but the potential's there, right? And I think a lot of the times in fantasy early rounds, you've got to work on potential, and you've got to take a gamble here and there. And I'm not saying he's a huge gamble, but still a minor gamble, you know? Like, he's the main half, but if he doesn't have any pieces around him or they're not supporting him, he's going to be going nowhere, right?
Definitely.
I think that's the big thing. You know, they lost Josh Alloy and they picked up James Tamo. I think that's a downgrade, which affects your halves.
Well, he's the captain now, Reds.
They could also force him to have to do more, right? What happened to DCE when DCE got all that money that supposedly popped on him? Boom. Where's he gone?
We'll find out if one of us talks
He's
about
a
it.
fancy god, and thank you for segueing me, because I'll just take it from you. DCE.
Oh,
Now,
so surprising.
look, Nathan Cleary, let's be honest, had probably the greatest fantasy year for a half we've ever seen, and he is... I know Mitch is going to talk about him later, so I won't ruin everything about Cleary. But if you want someone that's 100k cheaper,
No.
and he's just as good,
Is he?
No,
Because why is he 100k?
he is just as good. Dally Cherry Evans. He is a base stat god. He scores tries. He tackles. He does everything you want. He takes all the kicks. I still don't know who's partnering him in the halves yet. That's up for grabs, but it doesn't matter.
It'll be Fozzarelli.
But
Give it a new nickname.
Fozzarelli.
Fozzarelli.
That's awful.
Well, let's see if he plays more than 2 games.
Do you reckon, you know, he's like that guy that turns up to work that's always sick, has negative sick days, Kieran Foran? No wonder he excels so much.
Look, well, they played together before, but I think DCE, if you want someone that's, you know, I think just as good as Cleary, and you want to save 100k, put it elsewhere, I think he's your guy.
Look, don't get me
No
wrong.
one's buying it.
I don't know, like if I'm going top tier for my halves, I'm going to Cleary, or I'm going to try and hit in that mid range. I think Red's going to talk about a good,
I got two.
still gun, but probably $100,000 cheaper. So if you want that $200,000 elsewhere, no, don't get me wrong, DCA is safe. He will get you good points week in, week out. With Tommy T hopefully playing the whole year,
Definitely helps.
he's going to hopefully only increase those offensive stats. And him and Kieran Foran, we've seen together, they're a partnership that wins.
Whether that translates to fantasy points,
Yeah,
we will
but
see.
could that take away some of DCA's fantasy points?
It could.
Because, you know, when you're partnering with Dylan Walker, no disrespect to Dylan Walker, he's a better centre than he's a 5'8", and that's more base stats for DCA.
Well, Flora never took fantasy points away from Lockie Lewis, so, you know. We'll see. Red, so you got someone 200k cheaper, do you?
I have two guys, very similar price, and the first one I'll talk about is Jamal Fogarty. I believe it's pronounced Fogarty. We're all saying Fogarty, but Fogarty.
I prefer
Yeah.
Fogarty.
Fogarty. It sounds cooler.
Yeah.
I'm a bit foggy
Yeah,
on
a bit
the
foggy on that one.
pronunciations.
Anyway, he's the number of the beast at 666,000k. But averaged 50 points last year. This dude came out of nowhere. No one wanted him. Not even the Eels. Shit that dude out.
Go
And
get
Titans
him.
were like, yes sir. They were just hoping for, you know, an alternative to the upset Ash Taylor. And guess what? Worked out. This guy, killing it. He became the breakout half of the year.
Yeah.
Like I know Nathan Cleary went to the heights that he went to, was scoring really well. But this guy ended up taking that team, putting it on his shoulders, ran with it. He has really good forwards. Now he controlled the kicking game. Now that was supposed to be Ash Taylor's thing. He controlled the kicking game, 280 kick meters per game, and 90 run meters per game. He did everything. He became the cheap man's Daly Cherry Evans at 666k, 200k cheaper. So if you want to spend their money
I
elsewhere.
feel like we can all say everyone's the cheap man's
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Point.
well, no, because
Except
he's
for
the
Cleary.
cheap man's Nathan Cleary. And look, they've bolstered that forward pack. We all know every half plays better with a much better forward pack. He should get even better this year.
Look, I do like him as a player. He was fantastic. He shocked me. He didn't even have a pre-season last year and he did what he did. And he was a cash cow. He made all this money, but my problem is, has he reached his peak? There might be a little bit more room to grow, but I wouldn't say too much.
And I think sometimes this is where you can get in a bit of trouble, because you say, I think this player's at their ceiling, and you know, fair enough, like you say Nathan Cleary, he's probably at his ceiling. He's not going to go higher than he is now, but my God, if he's hitting that every week, that's a great score.
Exactly.
So it's one of those,
Yeah, if you're spending 666 and you're getting 50
Oh,
a week, you're not upset.
yeah, no, if you got him last year dirt cheap, you're laughing, probably not one I'm looking at. With there's a lot of other cheaper options that I think will be hitting around those numbers week in, week out. But hey, we'll wait and see.
Well, we will wait and see.
Now, we mentioned before, Mitch, you want to finish him off? That sounded wrong.
This wasn't off
Ooh.
camera.
Will we get a TikTok video? Will we get a TikTok video?
You're too old for TikTok, mate. Calm down.
I'm going to do so many bad things in the editing process to
Anywho, moving right on. Jerome Luai.
you. What a swerve.
No, Nathan Cleary, in all honesty, look, he's the most expensive man in fantasy football for a reason. And to be honest, like, he had 2 games over 100 points last year, 2 games over 90. He missed a few games due to some TikTok indiscretions. When you got to dance, you got to dance. But he does it all. Goal kicks, general players field, try assists, scores tries. So. And I actually think over the last week, I think his appeal to me has only grown. I wasn't big on him a few weeks ago, but with people like Haas suspended and McInnes down to ACL, you want your out and out keeper that's going to be putting up big numbers week in, week out. And he proved last year with a 72.6 average.
Well, this is the question we had, isn't it? We had Haas, McInnes, Cleary. Who's your set and forget captain? 2 of them are down.
No.
You know, you got one standout left. You know, you could drop a bit, go Cookie, someone like that. But, like, I mean, he's the most expensive guy in the league for a reason.
I don't know how many like halves have you captained in your fantasy career?
Not many.
There is not many.
I might risk it every now and with Teddy.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, he's not a half, right? So fullback, but how many halves have you captained in your life? I can't imagine there's many where you've gone, you know what? I'm captaining this guy.
Fogarty.
So, fuck, this could... New year. Hey, Fogarty.
Sorry.
Get it right or fuck off.
Well, Red, who are you finishing off with your halves? I know you got one you really love here.
I do.
Maybe a bit of a bias, but you know,
Well,
I won't
hey.
say anything.
Well, there's no bias here. I'm an out and out straight shooter. Cameron Munster for the best team that's ever been, the best team that ever will be, the Melbourne Storm.
So-
Cameron Munster. That wasn't biased, was it? That was
Straight shooter.
Straight shooter.
It's the most impartial comment I've ever heard.
Exactly. Cameron Munster, 671k. I know. More than Fogarty. What?
Crazy.
We were calling him the best player that's ever been. No, Cameron Munster. But odd thing, also averaged 50. So on the averages, you should go with Fogarty. But I'm going to tell you something different. Because Cameron Munster has come in, has 21 tackles per game. Not many halves get you 21 tackles a game. He averages 3 tackle busts a game. Not many halves can do that. He has at least a line break or a line break assist in each and every game. This is with Cameron Smith being the puppet master, and he's no longer there. For Broncos, apparently. But, you know, he's going to take control of the team. He loves a strip. Could be part of the new rules. Does love the old strip. I
He
think.
doesn't love a bit of this.
Oh, mate, the old
Loves an
nipple
interception
tassels.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great at turning over the ball. So yeah, could definitely make him
Yeah, he puts the dollars, and anyway, loves the strips. Look, he could be the next big half this year with Cameron Smith gone. It's him. It's all on him now. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I know Harry Grant's there, and I spoke about Harry Grant in the last video, but it's all on Cameron Munster now.
You talk about other players, not just Melbourne players.
Well, I
Is that
did
possible?
talk about Michael Morgan and Jamal Fogarty.
Fogarty,
Yeah,
Red.
right.
What a faux pas.
The
So,
best.
anyone got any thoughts on the best team that's ever played, lived?
I love that it's his team now. I think he definitely will make some money. He'll definitely score better with Smith gone. I had him in my team when I thought he'd be goal kicking.
Yes.
Now, there's questions about that. I think Pappenhausen has been... The Pappenschmacklin
Thank you.
Pappenschmack.
has been goal kicking in training, so that gives me some question marks there. I think with the other mid-range options, I might drop a bit further down. But I think he definitely will improve on that average.
Look, he's definitely worth a look in. He's Australian and Queensland 5'8". He pretty much carried Queensland to victory last year.
Yeah.
It's where you want to go. It's where you want to put your money. Like we've given a few cheaper options that'll probably be around that same mark as him. Do you want to spend the money on Munster? Do you want to put it in other positions? It's going to be a balancing act come that Tuesday.
Well, someone we didn't even mention was Mitch Moses. Like, he'll have a big year as well, I think. And he's a slightly
I'm
discounted.
a challenge on that. I'm saying Dylan Brown's going to have a better year.
It's tough. It's
Sounds like a better route to me.
been enough.
$5.
Look, I'm going to finish.
Dylan Brown has a higher fantasy score by the end of the year. Done.
Look, I'm going to finish off, and you're going to call me out for being a bit of a cheat here.
Let me guess. You're just going to take a whole team of players and be like, them.
Yes, I am. I'm going to take, this is just broad, Roosters halves. Look,
Does that include Luke Keary?
he's, no. Look, that halfback spot for the Roosters is wide open. They got rid of...
Teddy's a bit of a half. He gets a few tries.
It's a better half than the Sharks have.
Flanagan's gone. He's one of the Bulldogs. They need a new halfback, maybe playmaker. And look, there's 4 options available to them right now, and all of them are under 446k. Now you're telling me that that isn't tempting in itself. You got Hutchinson at 420, Lamb 446, most expensive. Then you got Kieran, who came from the Warriors, and you got the young stud Walker.
Can goal kick though.
So there's 4 options there, and whoever wins that spot, Teamless Tuesday, should definitely be in for consideration. Now Hutchinson has proved before that he can score very well. So I think if he does get the spot,
Lamb did well in his games last year.
Lamb was fantastic too. He makes a lot of tackles and he's played hooker as well. So yeah, I think I'll just take a very broad.
Wow.
I know it's a bit cheating, but I think there's a lot of value there in that Roosters half spot.
I like that you didn't cop out, so that's good.
Yeah, look, I'd love to talk about 4 different players at once, but here we are. Roosters number 7 could be an option. Fantasy words right here. Sounds, things.
Well, we literally just gave about 20 halfback options there. So let's go to centers where we don't have many options at all. Now we'll just list 2 each, we'll keep it pretty basic here.
Is that because it's the worst position in fantasy football?
Now, Stags seemed very tempting at the start.
Glaze over my comment.
I didn't even hear.
Honey glaze over it.
Now, Stags seemed like a very good option at the start, but he's been injured. So who else have we got to pick?
Amarillo, of course. Well done.
Or you can call him Jakey Boy.
Oh, go for Jakey, but it's easy to say. Look, 302,000, rumored to be starting 5/8. Now, obviously, he's another guy that we cursed, to put it simply. And he's racing the clock to be fit for round 1. But if he is fit and you can get a half to play centre at 302,000, you put him in your team and you thank me later. And that's it. There's nothing more to say. We don't need to dwell on it, talk about it.
Look, before...
He said we don't need to talk or dwell about it. Shut your lips and we move on.
So next up. No, before the injury, he was, I think, the most picked centre in the game, percentage-wise, in fantasy. And I still think he's there. I still think he's the favourite.
This is dwelling and talking about it.
Love the pick. If he's injured a week, I think you still put him on your emergency at that price and you bring him in when he comes back.
Look, I've got a long story for you. If he's there at TLT, starting at 6, put him in.
Beautiful. Red, who are you liking in the centre?
Well,
That's it. Guru unanimous. Last time we did that was Jack Bird.
Speaking of, Jack Bird.
Segway king.
374k, soon to be dead. Has an average of 0 for 2020. Didn't play a game.
Nice.
Good score though.
Good score.
He's to go up from here.
Look, but 2019.
Minus.
Yeah, he can go in the minuses. We've seen that. Let's rewind. 2019. 43 points a game. But beyond that, 5 tackle busts a game. He's a tackle bust machine. If you can get him at this price and he's starting and he's healthy, please fucking be healthy. Bring me. And thank me later.
Look, at 43 points a game in 2019, I think if he played in 2020 with that same average, he would have been second in centre averages behind Lomax, or around that mark. So, very good scores, and he's priced very cheaply.
Could be a lock.
It could
Let's
be
talk.
That is
Talk a lock.
That is the big one. Mitch, you want to talk about that?
Yes, and their predicted lineups, take it with a grain of salt, obviously. They do them every day, and every day they're different. But today's predicted lineup had him starting at lock. And even if he's at centre, he should be in your team, regardless. He's another one I don't think we have to beat down too much.
All right, we'll move on, and I'll just do an obvious one here. Now, the most expensive centre in fantasy, Lomax. Now, I'm not saying bring him in at the start, because he is so expensive. And, history shows we don't like to spend too much dosh in the centres at the start. Like to build up. But he averages 20 tackles a game. He's a goal kicker, and he's just 46-point average. Best by far last year in the centre position. I think 1 bad game, 2 bad games, that break even starts looking a little bit high. That money drops. If you can get him under 500k, I think that's when he's striking.
I love Lomax.
But
his missus plays better than he does, so I wouldn't pay that much for him.
Look, as a guy who didn't have him last year, and he'd do nothing and then just score a try, and you're like, yeah, if he gets cheap, I'm going to buy him.
Well, 627k, he is not cheap, and that is a lot of money to spend in the centres. So I'm holding off, but I think if he drops, 100k, something like that, 1 bad game is all that will do it. You pounce, because I don't see a harder working centre than he does. You always get involved.
Ooh.
No more bets.
Ooh.
Red. Oh, Mitch.
Wow.
Sorry. Who are you liking in the centre?
Well, I've got a very hard-working centre myself. Brian Kelly.
Love it.
Look, 464,000, so he's not the cheapest option out there. And he started very slow last year, had a few games off the bench that really harpooned his average. But when he played at centre, he played over 60 minutes, he averaged 40 points. And looking through some of his base stats, he averaged a few break tackles, close to 200 metres almost every game. Plenty of offensive stats in there, so I think he's a good option. If you're looking to go someone who's probably a bit safer, you know, you don't want to roll the dice and, you know, hope a $300,000 or $280,000 guy turns into a Lomax. I think he's a good option.
Well, he's a guy that doesn't need tries to score well.
No.
He can average over 200 metres. He can break tackles. He's a hard-working centre, and I really love him at that price. And I know it's still pretty expensive for a centre. I get it, but if you're willing to take a chance, he could really pay off on someone like Kelly.
And potentially, like, bringing someone like that in, like, last year I brought in a few guys that started. Callum Watkins went off back to England. I had Williami, Shibazaki. And I ended up wasting so many trades trying to get a good, consistent centre. So I think, you know...
Capewell, Matty Utah, like, it was just a cursed position last year. You want consistency.
So sometimes, you know, you pay a little bit more, but it could be worth saving your trades to play with later when you're not, you know, hoping for handouts. Like, we got a few last year due to COVID, but, you know, if everything goes well, we're not going to get any of them this year.
Thanks, Harvey Norman. Once again.
Well, speaking of consistency in the centres, someone that exceeded that, Red.
Yeah, I'm going to take a time out and get another beer.
Can you get me one, actually?
And we're back from our unsponsored beer break.
Thanks, Wakachangi. Sponsored. Not sponsored, but
Unsponsored.
But we could be.
it's quite nice beer, I've
If
heard.
anyone knows whoever brews this stuff,
Yeah, some of our Kiwis watch our show.
Yeah,
Right,
just put this in our story and tag them.
Yeah.
too. Anywho,
Anywho, centres. Let me tell you about my other centre, because we're doing two and it's a poo position. Campbell Graham. Oh, I know, Q Pug. I'm not doing it for you. Campbell Graham, 580k. Only averaged 43 points. But you take away the 2 games he played winger last year, averaged 45. So you were talking about it was a few and far between for that price. Excuse me.
well, Lomax averaged 46, he's 627k, so...
Boom. If you want to go for 100k cheaper. No, it's not 100. But anyway, look, he had 10 tries in his last 7 games. I know we spoke about hard-working centres and people who don't need to score tries, but if you want a dude who's all about that pizzazz, this is your man. Like I said, 10 tries from the last 7 games of the regular season, averages 145 run meters per game, and 3 tackle busts per game. Now, he found form when the Rabbitohs found form. What have they lost? Nothing. They've only gained.
Yeah, that's one of those
So if they've found form and they've got some consistency, watch out.
And they know, you know they can score points, and if you're outside Walker or, you know, Reynolds, you're going to score points.
And Latrell looked quite sharp.
His
as well.
cut out passes.
Look,
Unfortunately, that means he'll be cutting out Campbell Graham.
No, he'll be cutting out the take that, you sons of bitches.
Well, I don't really like guys that rely on tries too much, but, you know, he can score pretty well without them too. So, you know, he's expensive. If you can keep that form from the end of the year last year, wow, what a buy he'll be. But yeah, I'm tiptoeing around that price in centres. Mitch?
Yeah, look, probably not one for me, but good option out there.
That's Mitch's political response. Yeah, not one for me. It sucks.
Yeah.
I'd rather hate it. What would you rather do, Mitch? Shit in your hands and clap?
Maybe.
Those playing at home, that's a key Mitch catchphrase.
Look,
See if a bit of pizzazz though.
Oh, sorry.
look, you could obviously Tennis Tuesday comes. There's going to be cash cow options. There's going to be guys around the 220 mark, 240 mark that you can just bring into your team, and that's great. Unfortunately, guys like Tessie New, who's going to be playing in the centre, you won't be able to get him in the centres for a few weeks because he's not DPP option yet. So he's one to look out for, but definitely want to keep on your bench at the start of the year.
Yeah, definitely.
Look, we'll give you some more expensive options too. If you do want to risk some money, I'm going to say Aitken.
You and Aitken.
at 561k, bit cheaper than Campbell Graham. He averages 4 tackle busts a game. Look, he's very hit and miss. He was very hit and miss at the Dragons. There were 3 games last year where he scored in the 20s, but then there's 3 games where he scored in the 60s. Like he can swing either way. And I know it's not as consistent as some people would like, but he can be a very high scoring player. He likes hard work. He likes breaking tackles. I think at the Warriors he could be in for a big year.
I think the Warriors are just one of those teams though. Like one week they look amazing, the next week they just don't turn up. And maybe last year that was partly because of their circumstances.
There's a lot of New Zealand fans here, Mitch.
And they're gonna have a great season. Shaq's true to the cause.
Poor Warriors, man. It's losing their main guy.
Poor Warriors. But come on. That team, I really love this year. Their forward pack
Yeah, it's very
is
improved.
ridiculous.
Mm.
Now, all that means is more tries scored for centres. If it feels condensed, he's not working against forwards. He's slapping handbags out there. And those are tackle busts. Just ask Teddy. Those are tackle busts, baby.
He loves the tackle
The
busts,
old
mate.
Teddy.
Ewan Aiken
Yeah.
loves them. Exactly. Ewan Aiken loves them. And he goes into a team that loves a bit of finesse, bit of pizzazz. So he could be getting lots of ball in good spaces. It could be a big year for Ewan Aiken.
Look,
I know
over the 500k in the centre, it's a bit of a touchy subject, but I think you can splurge a bit in one of those centre spots, and these are some of the options. That you
I think
can
Mitch had
really
the
go
best point. That, you know what, he spent all last year trying to get it right. Don't fuck around. Get it right.
Get it
Just
right.
pick a
Yeah.
really good one to
It
start
was such
the
a
year.
mess around, trade wasting position.
It was.
Now we'll move into the fullbacks. Now we're not going to mention guys like Teddy and Ponga because they're just obvious picks. If you can afford them and you got money spare, spend the money. They're
Or
fantastic players.
Save someone, because I think Ponga's going to miss the first few weeks.
Yeah, Ponga will miss the first few weeks, so Tex Hoy could be a great bring in. Who we won't mention
Sexy,
here.
sexy.
But because of Ponga's injury, we don't know how long Tex Hoy will have, so we won't mention him. But if it's 3 to 4 weeks, great option. So, in saying that, who wants to start with? We'll start with you, Red.
Me?
Fullbacks,
Alright.
yes.
Ooh. Let me tell you about a guy. 62 points per game.
What? Tell me more.
Dude. This guy is Charlie Staines. Don't bring him in your team. Oh my god. We've seen people bringing him
I
in.
thought
We're
you
looking at
brought
the
it up.
percentages
Wow.
and we're like, who the hell is getting brought in? Charlie Staines. He played, 2 games? Oh my god. And he scored 6 tries in 2 games. Cool your jets.
I actually
He
thought
did
something good.
nothing else. Absolutely nothing. He's 445k playing on the wing. It's wing fullback, I know, but just get rid of the W. Because, fuck, that's what you'll do if you have him in your team. You're getting rid of the W.
But
for
Mitch,
God's
at that
sake.
average,
Who's Mitch?
but Red, at that average, that's like an 800k player.
That's an 800k player. Could be. But for 2 games, please, don't even waste your time. People, if you got him, just boot him. There is so many better options out there. We will talk about
Go on
something.
NRL Fantasy.
Holy shit. Stop it.
Look,
I've had enough.
In the 2 games he played, he was a try scoring machine.
Yes.
There's no way he can keep up that rate,
No.
and we haven't seen enough for him to say, yeah, you should bring him in. He could be an absolute curse on your team,
He could
and
be.
he could lose you money.
And look, obviously, the boys saying we haven't seen enough, and unfortunately, he hasn't had the point where he comes in at 228,000. You slowly build up, see what he's like, because he could do the hard work. You could be great at dummy half, the run meters, the break tackles, but you are splurging a bit of money there.
For a very big amount.
Yeah, because I promise you, he's not going to score a hat trick every single week.
No, definitely not.
Not a chance.
Those scores were definitely relying on tries and line breaks.
So just FYI, don't bring me. If you got
Yeah,
to bring
I
me.
was very excited. You
Yeah,
got that
built it up,
yeah.
Generally
Right.
forgot who you talked about before, so I was like, I actually need a wing fullback.
Mitch, who you liking? Don't make it super obvious.
Alright, I won't. Look, Tommy Turbo. Look, he should be up there in the leagues of Tedesco and Ponga. He should be. We all know he's got a voodoo, we've got a voodoo doll of Tommy Turbo, and we just keep poking it. That poor bloke can't take a trick. Generally cannot take a trick. But
Is that why he always looks like he's upset?
probably. Look, he averaged 39.1 points last year, and he had a game where he came off at -1. So you're not going to get him cheaper, I hope not anyway, than 477,000. He's someone that should be in your team. He's a genuine fantasy gun. He's a stud.
Look, when the team list started, when the fantasy prices started coming out, we have a group chat and I instantly saw it and messaged the boys. I'm like, did you see Tommy Turbo's price? It was unbelievable. Like, that is the stuff dreams are made of. And he should be absolutely 100% of your teams at that price. 471, or 477, sorry. Unbelievable. Must have.
No.
Must have.
Don't bang on, just put him in, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
If look, hot tip, get rid of Charlie Staines and put in Tommy T.
What?
Hot tip.
No.
Hot tip.
No!
Hot tip.
That's a Guru exclusive!
Not the Facebook one.
Maybe. We'll check this after.
Now, I'll go someone, again, who's cheaper than Staines and could have a great season. Now, Asako. Well, I know he's had some tough years and it's been so up and down. They're still giving him a shot at fullback. Now, he's priced at a 30 average. He's a fullback. If he's fullback starting, his goal kicking, which I checked, when he does play in that position, is 36.8 average. He can be good. And I remember last year, he started off very strong, then the inconsistency of position and team really suffered when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Before COVID hit, he was looking really good.
They won their first 2 games before COVID hit.
Yeah.
They actually looked like world beaters, and then they came out in the first game back and got absolutely smacked by the Eels.
Look, he's an undeniable talent. Got some problems with the old Butterfingers, but I'm sure he's working on that on the
What do you want
offseason.
from
I'm not saying Parramatta be confidence
More than
out of it. I'm not. It's probably just a coincidence, I don't know. Whatever.
But I think 300, under 400k, starting fullback, I think he should be in more people's teams.
Yeah, he's in my team at the moment.
Yeah, so.
Nah.
He doesn't play para for a few weeks, so.
No, just because Tessie News, the pain in the fullback's ass of the Broncos. And speaking of, neither of them fullbacks arseholes, but here we are. The only reason why they're there is you'll kick a field goal from the middle of the field instead of having come out from the wing.
It's a great point, so.
And look, they're 5 points a bang, so you're taking.
He's priced under his
But
average when he's playing fullback.
Yeah.
I think, just in saying that,
Good
and you
point,
need to
though.
save money.
They've got to be in close games for field goals to matter.
Very tough for the Broncos.
Rough.
Alright, Red, who are you liking?
So, guy who. I actually like this guy this time. I'll start with that. Let's not set a precedent where I just hate everybody. Corey Allen, 416,000 starting fullback.
I'd rather shit my hands and clap.
The Doggy Dogs, they finally had their chance. The cat woes are over. They've brought in a man who wanted to play fullback but couldn't. Now the team who wants him to play fullback is pretty much set there. Look, at fullback, he averages 30 points a game and 120 metres per game. Now that's not much, but that was when that team wasn't that good. They looked a lot better with Latrell and Campbell Graham there and other people. They had a lot of people playing fullback who shouldn't have been playing fullback. And with the pre-season there, the Dogs have improved, got a better half, better ball distribution, I think at 416. Start fullback.
Well, I think he'll make you money. I think it's decently priced. I don't really rate him that much, but then saying that, he was an Origin player last year. So, he's obviously a talent. But yeah, I might sit on that one for a little bit and see how it goes at the start. But 416k, you could miss out.
Yeah, I'm just not going to bring him in. So
Yeah, Mitch, don't low max it again, mate. Don't low max it. You did it last year. You said the same thing about him. I want to see you shit in your hands and clap now. Can't wait.
Mitch, who are you liking better than Corey Allen?
Look, he's not as cheap as Corey Allen, but the only reason Corey Allen played Origin is because this guy got hurt, AJ Brimson. Tell me Brimo's
Just a steal from the last episode. Not cheap though, is he?
No. Look, he comes in at 667,000, but he had an average of 51.3. And this guy is a superstar. Not could be a superstar, is a superstar. And look, we saw the impact he had in Origin 1 last year before he got hurt. We saw the impact. The Titans really turned the season around when they got Fogarty and Brimson going. Look, is he at his ceiling at 667,000? Possibly. but I think he's going to be hitting around that 50-point mark week in, week out, and that's pretty safe numbers. You're pretty happy if all your players are putting up numbers like that week in, week out.
50 points per player per game. You know,
I think, yeah, he's if not his ceiling, he's very, very close. And there's some other guys around that price which I think you can be more comfortable with picking. Which I could just send straight to Red right now because he's under that price, and I have much more confidence in him.
Really?
No offense.
Wow.
But who? Tell me, Red. Tell me.
Just sitting on Mitch there. We have a guy now. I believe the app has spelled his name wrong. They've called him Ryan Pappenhausen, but I believe his name is the Pappenschmackle. Can you please fix that? We'll tag you in it. Just fix it, please. The Pappenschmackle, Ryan Pappenhausen, 658. Wait, another Melbourne player.
No.
What? We're everywhere. We're like a virus, like one that if you get, you gotta take a few days off work. Here we are. Average is 49 points a game. He's 658,194 run meters per game.
It's impressive.
Oh man! And once again, I think Harry Grant speeds up the Melbourne Storm a little bit
In the ruck.
In the
He's
ruck.
always
And
around it.
back when he was coming off the bench, he needed that speed in the ruck, and he looked electric when there was some speed in the ruck.
Sure.
Now, having Harry Grant there could be huge for him. Now, I spoke about Munster before. You said he may not be goal kicking. The dude he's in contention with is Ryan Pappenhausen. Could be the goal kicker. Now, that's huge. Melbourne Storm was scoring quite a few points last year. If he gets another 6 points from 3 conversions per game, that's huge. That's dollars made instantly. This guy, I know he's not Teddy, and we're not talking about Teddy and Ponga, but he's that one notch down.
Yeah.
Just that one notch.
He's probably at the same level as like a Tuivasa Sheck,
Yes.
a Tommy Turbo.
Yeah. But I think he'll take the next step up, especially faster ruck speed with Smith gone. I think definitely he's in my team.
Is Smith gone?
Is he?
You heard it here first. He's gone.
Look, we're filming this on Tuesday, so by the time we release this, there could be more news about it. But rumour is Broncos, now that McCulloch's gone to
They
the
wish.
Dragons.
You wish.
Or Titans, or
it's all out
other
there.
clubs.
He's still out signing books.
You heard it here first, but not first because we filmed it 4 days before release.
First.
But yes, I love Pappenhausen, and I think he'll definitely be in my team, especially if he's goal kicking. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah, he's like you said. I think he's not quite that Teddy Ponga level, but he's just that step below. So you bring him in, he's probably going to be hitting average 50 a week. So
Well,
on an average game, he's going to have explosive games too. So.
Absolutely. Well, here's a guy with the same sort of name power as those boys, but much less cheaper. Valentine Holmes.
That's no Pappenschmackle.
No, that sucks.
Look,
that's no Brimo.
Last year, when he came back, we looked at him, it was 600k. It was like, first few weeks he played very well. And we thought, oh no, did we make a mistake by not bringing him in 600k? Well, now he's under 500 at the start of the season.
That's what you're saying.
He had a very inconsistent season. He was injured most of it. He was moved out to the wing. It dropped his average a bit. That's why he's cheaper right now. But you're looking at, just like Pappenhausen, a goal-kicking fullback. I'll be the first to admit I wasn't that impressed by him last year.
No.
But I think this year, with 1 full pre-season, 2 full pre-seasons, I think he'll be a lot better. No one's buying it. All right, I'm sorry.
Wouldn't have a bar of it.
Trust me, watchers.
Yeah.
I'm right about this one. I'm right about it.
So is he in your team?
No.
No validity.
I keep switching between him and Saka.
I knew he wasn't. That's why I asked the question.
Look, the team's not complete yet. There's still weeks to go. It's changing every day. All right, Mitch. Who are you finishing on?
Look, I could go boring. I could go predictable. Oh, Mitch, pick another fullback. What about Ponga or Shaq or Teddy? No, they've been talked about. They've been done.
I think we've only talked about fullbacks, except for Stainsy.
Hey, Staines, 62 points per game, baby.
We haven't been completely predictable. But I'm going off book. I'm going off cuff. If I had a book, I'd throw it.
Did that.
David Nofaluma.
I think you get that.
667,000, so he's not cheap. But by God, does he back it up? He averages 6 tackle breaks a game, 180 run meters a game. That's 36 points. Just from that. Then you've still got, offloads, you've still got tries, line breaks, tackles.
I don't think it's very off the cuff because a lot of people know about him. He's very highly rated in that position. He works hard.
Just never heard of him.
And he really increased his try scoring last year from 2019. He just signed a new contract, so he'll be playing harder.
Try scoring will probably only go down though. Benji's gone.
But Brooks,
Mitch loves
I
him.
see what you're doing now. You're trying to link them all together. No, I don't. I think at that price, I prefer to tend towards the fullbacks in the wing fullback position. I think they get their hands on the ball a lot more. But Nofoaluma is an exception. He does like taking the ball from the ruck and getting those meters.
He just slaps hands away.
And he
like
slaps
he
it.
dances.
3 points, 3
That
points,
dude, the
3
ballroom,
points.
He just bang, bang.
So graceful.
And
The boy don't want to be hit.
Nah.
yeah, maybe he doesn't like being tackled.
Nah.
Maybe
It's
he
the wrong
just-
profession.
Running from sideline to sideline.
Hey, but you know what? That's points, baby.
That's the point.
That's points, baby.
Alright, so, well, I guess that leaves me for the last. Like you, it's very off the cuff.
and
If you didn't like my Holmes pick, if you didn't like that, you won't like this.
Herbs, I'm wrapping this up now. As always, guys, like, subscribe, comment.
Let me throw this out there. It's risky. Matt Duffy.
The
The Duff Dog. So 575k. Now, rounds 14 to 17 last year, he averaged 20 points.
Ooh.
It was awful.
I've seen bowling shoes prettier than
He had a really bad stint. But when you take that rubbish out, 49.28 average for the year. Very explosive. That position's his now. I think, he could be a very good bring-in at that price. Under 600k, starting fullback, 80 minutes. He's just as explosive as Pappenhausen when he wants to be.
Look,
You can't even deny it. He's very explosive.
He's very explosive. I just think there is much better options out there. Like, if you're spending that much money...
It's under 600.
It's-
You guys have not been a fan of any of my works.
Do better.
Duffy's not in my team either. But I think he's definitely got someone you got to think about.
I think Dufty, I agree. Oh God, I hate agreeing with you. But I do agree that he is someone for consideration. Purely for the fact that if you're going to spend some money elsewhere, you do need to invest some money in the wing fullback position. It has potential to really make or break your team.
But let's take normal fantasy out of it. Let's say draft. You want a good POD. He could be one that people just overlook and could be a great bring-in. So
I hope you pick differently.
POD, point of difference, he could really be a separator in your team.
Look, I'm not going to say no. I'm just going to say I think there's better options out there. But if you're in a tricky situation in draft,
Draft is hard.
Well, we'll wrap it up there. That's our backs. We've done forwards. Will next video be team reveals? Pretty sure it will be, but we'll let you know. And then we move on to podcast format, of course.
And better mics than this one.
Yes, we're working on that. Mitch, what can they do?
as always, guys, like, subscribe, comment. We probably won't reply on Instagram, to be honest. We're mainly focusing on YouTube at the moment. So any comments there, we will hit back at. But Instagram, good luck.
And then you
I'll
can
try.
comment on Spotify when we get to that point. So, soz.
But thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Subscribe.